we're going to thank the one and only Icy Amphibian. Thank you to Icy. So I am going to get into some of my notes. On the notes, so we have an update. Okay, you guys know I did the whole thing of Jasmy and Silo. We talked about centrality and all that. According to Mr. Icy Amphibian, he says that he got word through Dip Metaverse in regards to Hara, because we know that Dip is I believe he is an ambassador, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think why wouldn't he be? I'm pretty sure he is. But don't quote me, but I'm leaning towards he is. But basically speaking, it doesn't seem like Jasmy and Silo are following their original plans and do not have a direct connection anymore. It's not FUD, it's just, something from a while back. And I kind of thought about that for a while, because I said to myself, the whole thing with Jasmy and Kana Labs seems to make more sense in regards to mass adoption. If anything, this was a scaling solution for its current layer, at its current state, right? Because people were flooding Jasmy in the past, it can't scale, and that was like, okay, well, look at centrality, right? Boom. But the main thing is, what Icy Amphibian is talking about. They don't have any plans for the most part. Could be wrong. Maybe it's still there, but on the surface, doesn't seem like there's any direct connection in regards to Jasmy, Silo, so on. Like he says, it's third-hand info, but it's the best you get for now. Maybe I wasn't supposed to mention that. I don't know, but I apologize. And I'm also really, really tired. But anyway, he thinks that Kana Labs might be filling that gap now. Yes, I would agree with that. Kana Labs is the key to mass adoption. And if you've been following all this, you know it is. All right, so basically, Icy Amphibian points out that Jasmy has 3 Omni-chain technologies in their stacks. Number 1 is Meta Visa for transaction privacy. Cool. Bifrost, I did a deep dive about that for Jasmy NFT and JPYC support. These are all worth pointing out, guys. Kana Labs, just like we mentioned. Seamless operation between Jasmy's private chains on Hyperledger Fabric and Jasmy's public chain, of course, on Optimism, will also bring interoperability to outside blockchains. We also know about Jasmy with the whole, was it layer 0 with Polkadot for the cloud solution. Right? So there's all that. And that's, of course, worth pointing out. Now, in regards to omni-chain technologies, if I was one of you guys, I'd be asking all day long, what is the significance in regards to omni-chain? And that's a great question. For one, omni-chain technology is a revolutionary concept that has the potential to transform the blockchain landscape. Now, hear me out on this, especially if you love the Jasmy coverage. So for one, it enables this whole thing of seamless interoperability. You guys know me. I always talk about interoperability, especially when it comes to quant. I did the whole thing numerous times in regards to Jasmy, quant, Jasmy, centrality of the past, Jasmy, Kana Labs, and all that, right? Interoperability. We want to see all these things. Mass adoption, all that stuff. But by enabling seamless interoperability between different blockchains, omni-chains, since we're on the topic of that, solutions can break down the silos that currently exist and create a truly interconnected ecosystem. Go Reverdian, Quant, always talking about no walled gardens, get rid of the silos, right? But in regards to specifically Omnichain, this has a number of things to allow just that, the interconnected ecosystem. Has significant implications of the future of blockchain tech, but here is roughly about 4 key things in regards to Omnichain and their particular tech. So for one, you're going to get increased liquidity and efficiency. Is that such a bad thing? No. Omnichain allows assets to be easily moved between different blockchains, can easily increase liquidity and make it easier for traders to find the best prices. So it allows, a sense of the competitive, not just spirit, but real things for actual, I guess you could say, day traders and so on. What about improved user experience? Omnichain makes it easier for users to interact with different blockchain apps. They can use their existing wallets and credentials to access them. This further solidifies the whole notion that in the future, with Jasmy Super Wallet, You will no longer see so much dependency on things like Binance, right? And we covered that before too. How about enhanced innovation? On-chain enables developers to create applications that span multiple blockchains, can lead to more innovative and powerful solutions. Yes, we could talk about interoperability all day, and we do, but we understand how important that is because we want to see this not just hit one blockchain, but multiple ones, right? We have to have no wall gardens or silos. All right, back to the whole thing about Kana Labs and then a little bit of this Omni chain. So we want more of that mass adoption, right? Omni chain can help accelerate the adoption of blockchain tech by making it more accessible and, of course, user friendly. Now, some people ask, Omni chain itself, what kind of tech can that be used for? And I'll give you 3 examples of this real quick. So for one, we want to see more cross-chain swaps. There's numerous examples about cross-chain swaps, but in particular, we want to see the ability of being able to swap assets between different blockchains, such as, let's just be honest, even some older ones, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and so on. You want to be able to see decentralized exchanges, be able to have ease of use with this. On a chain could be, used to create decentralized exchanges, allow users to trade assets, of course, on just that, multiple blockchains. Interoperable applications, be able to create applications that interact with data and assets on multiple blockchains, right? I mean, it all makes sense. You have to keep in mind this, though. On the chain in itself, if you're not aware of it, is in early access development. And basically, it does have a lot of potential. And it could very well make a big impact on the industry due to interoperability. But as on-chain solutions become more mature, we can expect to see them play an increasingly important role in the development of decentralized applications, and of course, just that the growth of the actual ecosystem. We want to see Jasmy in the future have a thriving ecosystem, and you already see the little indicators as we speak. That's why we see the Jasmy grants programs and so on. Like at the end of the day, when you see things like Stellar, what they've already done, right? Especially with Sorbonne, there's nothing wrong with using other particular successful projects and their blueprint. I think Jasmy already sees that in itself. Now, to show you a little bit of what I'm talking about, all right, you're going to see a familiar face here. And whether you're for the guy or not is beyond the point. But I see Amphibian pointing this out, and it is in regards to Finolab. Now, of course, you guys know the guy on the left. He's the former CEO of Twitter. Now, for some people are like, well, why would, like Jasmy and some of these other guys want to get involved with this guy? He was all about like non-free speech and stuff and whatnot. Okay, very well true. But I want you to look at the bigger picture. We have pointed out a while back, especially one of the newest videos that was on this new channel, was about how Elon Musk went to Japan. And in his trip to Japan, I was trying to point out that your main key takeaway should be that the X platform still has a big problem. That is, how does Elon Musk tackle the whole thing of data privacy problems, and particularly in Japan, which I guess is his second largest market, right? If it's not second largest market, it's his third largest market, give or take. Still, one of his biggest markets. Well, it was pointed out that he's got this big problem, like a big stack of papers, if you will. Have one of his assistants or whoever nowadays. I don't even know if that's the right terminology, but I imagine somebody helps him out and points out, hey, guess what? If you don't tackle this data privacy problem that you have in Japan, then you're really going to have a problem. And if anything, somebody else is going to seize the opportunity or point it out for you, and you're going to have problems. Enter in, back to the whole bigger picture, Jack Dorsey. So you may be wondering, why even point this out? And I'd be with you. So I want to share this site. It's called Finolabs. Shout out to Mr. Icy Amphibian. And like it says, keep on moving for a view you've never witnessed. They have this philosophy. What is their philosophy? Well, it's to create a space for members and operated founding members that um, basically want to stimulate innovation in financial tech in one of the most prominent international financial centers, which is Tokyo. Huh, what is this about? Well, look what it says, creating a fintech innovation ecosystem with fintech startups and stakeholders to lead financial digital revolution. Now, the reason why I want to point this out for you guys that are Jasmy holders is we have cited numerous times Mr. Shinzo Abe. And years ago, when he was alive, he specifically pointed out an initiative to reach out to America, right? And have this whole thing of all these fintech startups to invest, obviously, into Japan, and how that was a big, big deal. But we know when it comes to Jasmy, they are not just IoT anymore, which there's nothing wrong with being just IoT because IoT is a huge sector in itself. But they are branched out into finance democratization. I know where Mr. IC Amphibian is going with this, and I love that he has taken the extra time to dig deeper into that. You would appreciate that. So in this team, you're going to see a few key people here. And no, I don't think Junji Hara is related to Hara-san, right? Totally different people. But you see, some real big talent here. So for one, I'm going to show you guys, for instance, this guy here, Makoto Shibata. I'm not pronouncing that right. I'm so sorry. But he is currently in charge of Finolab community operation, his former position at the Bank of Tokyo. And look what's mentioned here, Mitsubishi UFJ. We've cited that before in the past. I'm sure you guys have remembered some of the older deep dives, even from the older channel. He was leading R&D initiatives in emerging tech, online what? Mobile financial service. Huh. Has that not caught your attention? He also held positions in corporate planning, accounting, corporate finance, retail customer services at the bank. He's one of the founders of Finovators, an executive fellow at Japan Digital Design. He holds a bachelor's of economics from University of Tokyo, a master's in science development economics from the University of Oxford. Why is everybody going to remind me of Oxford? My mom dreamed about me going to Oxford, but it never happened, of course. That's okay. A lot of people get to go to Oxford. It's no big disappointment. But the key thing is, that is a big. We talk about the guys that can give you that plug, give you that connect to take things to the next level. I think it's a big deal. I want to go down further into some of this stuff in regards to the findings. So I want to get to, I think it's either the guy on the left or the middle. Hold on a second. Yes, the guy on the far left. Now you may be thinking, oh, this guy's related to Kunit or Kazumasa Sato. No, it's just these are common names. Kind of like here in the United States, we have, Jones or Smith or what I mean. It's just, please do not look at that like, oh, hey, these guys are related. No. So Mr. Sato, I'll read this part. Joined Mitsubishi Estate in 1990. He was engaged in development and operational management of Yokohama Landmark Tower and other skyscraper complexes. After being transferred to a foundation under the jurisdiction of Ministry of Land, Infrastructure, Transport, and Tourism. Why point all this out, Max? Because guess what? This doesn't say Jasmy anywhere. And you'd be right. You'd be 100% right. Hold on a second. I got to clear my throat real quick. But your key takeaway, okay, should be that these guys are all part of the bigger picture of one common goal for all of it, and that is Society 5.0. Okay, so again, Transport and Tourism, Ministry of Land and Infrastructure. This right here tells me, you know what, Jasmy's plug into DD, data democratization token, and so on. And basically, like, come on, using the PDL combined with everything that we've been talking about in regards to the pairings of the past. All right. I don't even have to read more of this. You guys know where that's going. I will read the middle part in regards to Toshika Tanaka, Chief Digital Officer. Mr. Tanaka started his career at ISID as an engineer engaged in various projects, including back office, international bank branches, cross-border payments, trade finance, JPY clearing system, AML, CFT solution, supply chain infrastructure, IT governance, Finolab. He designed and deployed the integral part of applications for its operation since his participation in 2016. But it also started off as a fintech in 2016. It was Jasmy. When did it come to light of day as far as having a token release? 2021. But the key thing is these fintechs and these bigger players, it's all worth pointing out. Now, if you were watching the quant coverage earlier, or even if you weren't watching the quant coverage earlier, I point out many times when it comes to ESG, when it comes to Jasmy and even quant. So I'll read this last part. This guy on the far right, Masatoshi Kaneko, I don't know how to pronounce it, was appointed as CFO in 2020. Prior to this, he founded his company, which is Kaneko Cooperation, serving business advisory services and supporting the investment of ESG factors as one of the signatory companies, PRI, before part of his business was assigned to Finolab. He has continued concurrently serving as a CEO. He started his career at airlines industry. After that, he served as CFO at Diamond Media, educated at Waseda University, gaining an MBA in finance. So all these guys have just crazy talent. But again, what should be your takeaway? Fintechs, community space for members, aim towards stimulating innovation in financial technology. Most prominent international financial centers in Tokyo. Creating a fintech innovation ecosystem with fintech startups. Stakeholders lead to financial digital revolution. Fintech startups. Last I checked, Jasmy stood out big time, especially when it comes to 2016, as regards to a fintech startup. So, what about the whole thing in regards to Finolabs? Right, I'd be with you. What I want to state to you in regards to my notes: Finolabs is Japan's first and largest fintech hub. You probably weren't aware of that, and it's okay. I'm not trying to say hey, I knew that. No, I had to research it too. But the bottom line is they aim to accelerate financial innovation, just like we pointed out, and build fintech business ecosystem in specifically Japan. Now, of course, they were founded in 2019 by Mitsubishi Estate and ISID. They are, of course, located in just at Tokyo. Finolab provides a number of resources and services to support the growth of fintech startups in Japan, including, some key things. But this all lives up to the whole thing of what Shinzo Abe originally talked about back in 2015. And if anything, you were seeing that come to a realization, right? It's not just, hey, Shinzo Abe mentioned it and it didn't become fulfilled, right? Listen to this for a second, because some of these resources in regards to the startups that include the following are a co-working space, mentoring and networking opportunities, access to capital. Who also has access to capital? Who else has been doing grants? Jasmy, right? Assistance with entering the Japanese market. Do you know that Finolabs obviously works with banks? Do you know they work with insurance companies, retailers? These partnerships have helped create a vibrant fintech ecosystem in just that. Japan. Finolabs have played a significant role in development of Japanese fintech industry. It helped create an environment where fintech startups can thrive, facilitate collaboration between fintech startups and other industry players. So that should answer your question if these guys do collaborations in regards to other particular fintechs. The answer is yes. So again, thank you to IC Fibian. As a result, Finolab has helped to accelerate financial innovation in Japan it made a positive contribution to the Japanese economy. Now, one thing I want to point out to you guys, excuse me, is that they helped to incubate over 100 fintech startups already. So it's not something speculative of like, well, this sounds cool. These guys got a great background. But have they actually helped out anybody? The answer is yes. And it's not just like, okay, 5, 6 here, 7 there, 10, 100. How about this, guys? They have facilitated over 1,000 business partnerships between fintech startups and other industry players. That's a big deal. They have helped raise over 100, and listen to this, guys, billion yen, including funding for fintech startups. And if you don't believe this, go to their website. I'll even drop in the link for you, just in case you want to nerd it out. It's all verifiable, and I'll put it right in the comments. Boom, there it is. Yeah, there it is. And basically speaking, yes, 100 billion yen is nothing to bat an eye at. I mean, I understand the conversion rate compared to US dollars, but it's still nothing to bat an eye at. Actually, I'll just pull it up. 100 billion yen to USD. It still equates to $665,546,300. So well over $500 million. That's still a lot of money. A little bit more in regards to the notes. Last part of the notes. Finolab is a valuable, of course, asset to the Japanese fintech industry, and it's well positioned to continue to play a leading role in the development of this sector. The sector that leads to the big enchilada, or the big, I know we're talking about Japan, so I don't know, the big rice bowl or whatever. I don't know what you call it over there, right? But the key thing is to the overall main goal of that Society 5.0. If you have these facilitators that will literally collaborate with you, wouldn't it make sense they would recognize Jasmy? I'm just being honest. I'm sure IC Amphibian will have more in regards to this, and that's a good thing. But your main key takeaway should be that, yes, these guys are the enablers because they have the money, and because they have the talent, and because they have the connections. Jasmy is the first regulatory compliant cryptocurrency in all of Japan. In a country that is so freaking like unbelievably regulated, well more than the United States could ever dream of. Jasmy's already proven itself to have a key player in regards to the bigger picture, Genki Oda. This takes it to the next level. Now, some people say, oh, this is speculative, and I get that. But if you are a fintech startup, along with a lot of other fintech startups, do you have the clout that Jasmy has? I don't think you do. And if anything, these particular, group of people that are part of the conglomerate of Finolabs, I bet you anything they have recognized what blockchain and DLT is all about. So who stands at the forefront? It would be Jasmy. So to me, this is not a nothing burger, and we'll have to follow how this goes. And if anything, I'm sure IC Amphibian is looking more into it. And I definitely will look more into it as well. But I wanted to bring it to you guys because I do think it's a big deal. Look out for the future in regards to what, guys? What's their name? Let's see if you remember. It is called Finolab, the FinTech Center of Tokyo. Yeah, Tokyo, Japan. And please, by all means, go to finolab.co.jp. You might have to interpret it, but most of it's already written from from Japanese to English for you can understand it. And basically speaking, that's the bottom line. It's just do more of your own research and so on. So glad to share it with you guys tonight. We'll be following this more in the future. And I honestly don't think it's going to be a nothing burger. But I understand there's some people who will be like, well, if it doesn't say it, it is. understand there's a lot of things that Jasmy has not published, and we had to wait and understand that later on it came out to be a real thing. So there you have it.